What's up, guys? Good morning, good afternoon for some of you. I don't know where you guys are watching this, but still morning for me. Today, what I wanted to talk about was the kind of looming tariffs that we've had that has pushed the market down quite a bit. We were trading 22,000s and now we're down to like the 19,000s on on NQ. But more specifically in the car world, what are these tariffs going to do to the car market? And so, you know, um, if you guys aren't aware of what's going on, President Trump has said that he's going to enforce tariffs, which is like a tax on anything coming from outside the country, right? Any kind of product being sold into the U.S. So if you're buying a let's just say a Toyota or a BMW or a Mercedes, right? Those are, all from different countries. When the car comes in, there's going to be a 10% increase, a tax that's added on top of the price of the car. So, you know, um, if you are buying that car and you're in the US, then basically there's going to be a 10% increase to the price of that car. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of, talk about how that could affect the market and, you know, also comparing it to the COVID market because COVID happened and they had an issue with the semiconductors, like the microchip, the chip processors for the car. And so what that did to the market was new cars were not coming in, right? And so people, still needed cars, even though it was during COVID, right? And people were kind of freaked out, and nobody was traveling, and a lot of businesses stayed home, but people still bought cars, right? And since there were no new cars coming in, the supply of new cars was low, right? Which then, if you don't have a car that's available, then people will go buy used cars, which drove the used car market up, right? And if supply is low, then also the dealerships don't get a lot of cars. So what they try and do is they hold for, um, kind of maximum profit, right? That's just kind of what a dealership does. So what that did is basically drove the car market up, right? So if you're looking at Ferraris or Lamborghinis or even just like a BMW, the the car market was just like kind of crazy. I mean, some like limited edition cars, went up like 50%, 100% depending on the car. So it was a pretty fascinating time. So I see a little similarity here with this market, except I actually think you're going to see the market drop. I mean, so we had COVID market where prices were super high. People were overpaying for cars, right? They're paying a lot of money. And now after that bubble is kind of popped and we're back to normal supply, right? The used car market, people have been losing a lot of money on their cars, right? As they go to resell them, the value is just not there anymore, right? So a lot of people are upside down in their cars. So it's interesting. So we're coming off of COVID, right? And the prices of cars is down, and then if you add tariffs to new cars, what you're going to have is uh say you're buying a $40,000 uh or $50,000 car, right? It's now 44,000 or it's 55,000, right? Depending on the price of the car. You add 10% to it. So that's going to make it a lot harder for dealerships to sell cars, right? So there's no problem with the supply. The supply is still coming in. So what you're gonna see is you're gonna see a lot of these cars, because they're 10% more expensive. You're gonna see a lot of them sitting on the lot, right? And so the typically when dealers have lots of cars sitting on the lot, what do they have to do to get them sold? They have to discount them heavily, right? So if you have a lot of cars sitting on the lot, they're getting discounted just in order to sell them. What do you think that's going to do to the pre-owned market, right? You could get a new car discounted to here, right? And typically a used car is down here, new cars here, right? There's a certain amount of depreciation that happens between a new car and a used car. So if you were to have the new cars drop down here, what's that going to do to the used car market? It's going to push it down as well. So on top of, kind of coming off the bubble from COVID, aligned with these tariffs that are coming, it could be a pretty brutal car market. I think values are dropping pretty significantly. And if you want to piggyback on top of all of that, you have the electric car market, the EV car market, which we were kind of pushing. The government was pushing people to get um, electric cars, and so the resale value on those has also plummeted. So it's going to be really interesting times. I'm kind of a little fearful, with these tariffs coming off the COVID market, with the EV market getting beat up. We could see, kind of a rough time for dealerships and anybody that's in the car world, and that's just basically going to be passed through onto the consumers, the people buying the cars. So um it's interesting. I'm kind of fascinated to see how it plays out. I love to speculate on stuff like this. This is, if anybody that knows me, I just love to kind of, you know talk about this in kind of the big picture. And you also have, and I'm fascinated to see how this pans out. And everybody that knows me is like exhausted of hearing me talk about this. But AI is coming. It's coming for everyone's jobs, right? And as we are all using Chat GPT, or any, or Grok, or any of these AI agents, right? They are just learning how we do things, and they're getting better, and they're improving, and eventually they're just going to take over our jobs, right? So I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see what happens in the car market in terms of you know what the resale is going to do, in terms of the tariffs, in terms of coming off COVID, in terms of um you know we have no supply issues, so lots of cars are going to be coming in. So all of those forces are going to be pushing the car market down. Then you align with AI, which is going to be taking lots of people's jobs, right? So we're going to have less money for the average everyday person, because robots technology is getting way better. The computers are getting insane. I mean, they created a computer that just the other day, that created a new state of matter, and that computer is more powerful than every computer combined ever. So we have advancements in that. We have advancements in AI, right? You OpenAI is now putting out like PhD level agents out there that you can pay for. Um, you know, it's going to be taking attorneys' jobs. You're going to see less. It's going to be um, you know, going after doctors' jobs. I mean, some of the stuff that they can do is even better than doctors, right? So, you're not going to see 100% of the population out of a job, but you will see less people employed, which means there's going to be less money going to the overall consumers, and basically the people that buy the cars, right? So, for me, this could be a really, really bad time for cars. And so, like, I don't know what that's going to do in terms of the high end cars, which is kind of what I deal in. I still think, the people that have money are going to have money, but I think the overall you know economy, health of the economy, and those sorts of things, I think these tariffs could kind of send us into a recession, lined up with the other forces that are kind of pushing it down. So pretty interesting. I hope I'm wrong. I never want anything, bad to happen. I hope I'm totally wrong, but I'm just seeing a lot of these stars line up, and it seems like it could potentially, tank the market. So everybody that's like buying cars, I would just say be very careful with buying cars. Um, you know, we still need transportation. That's never going to go away. I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy cars and those sorts of things, but more than anything, I think it's just kind of be careful with what you buy, you know. Um, so yeah, it's pretty interesting, but we'll see how it all plays out, you know. And again, this is none of this is like a political thing. I am like the biggest anti-politics guy. I'm not right, not left, nothing, just straight down the middle. I'm a human more than anything. So, you know, none of this is about politics or shouldn't we. I just am kind of looking at the landscape and trying to help buyers and people that have cars, advise them to do what's best. And that's as a broker, right? Which is basically everything that Pocket, our company Pocket, is it's brokers, you know, guys that want to help people, their customers, buy cars, right? And do what's right by them. Because everybody wants a car guy, right? Someone that knows the market, is informed, and you can go to them and trust them and count on them to kind of help you and advise you with your car purchase or car sale, those sorts of things. So, you know, all of this is just kind of stuff for you to consider as a broker or even as a buyer if you're watching. But yeah, it's you know, gonna be interesting times. So we'll see where it goes. Hopefully I am wrong. But yeah, I appreciate you guys jumping on, and that's kind of my thoughts today in terms of the tariffs and what it could possibly do to the resale market in the automotive world. All right, guys. Feel free to comment if you guys have any you know stuff, anything you want me to talk about. I'm happy to talk about whatever. Um, Also, feel free to like and subscribe. You know, I'm going to be going live. You know, basically every single day, Monday through Friday at about 11:45. Sorry, 10:45 Eastern Standard Time. So if you're on the West Coast, it might be a little earlier for you, 7:45. But it's a good way to kind of kick off the day, especially if you're going to be brokering and talking to customers. It's a good way to just arm yourself with information, ammunition to like help you guide them in a certain direction. You know, so anyways, appreciate it, and I'll talk to you guys soon. All right, later, guys.